Hello friends, me again, back from a long painting absence, but I'm here. I hope everyone's well out there in internet land. Let's make sure I'm recording because it's been on, yep, I am. Hope everyone's well, having a good summer. Summer's a hard time. There's lots of things to do, lots of good things to do. Painting is not the only thing in the world, right? It's just a good thing in the world. It's one of the good things. So I figured I'd sit down here and make a video. And I'm going to steal one from Bob. So I think it's called Rippling Waters. It won't look like Bob's. Did this one with a friend, another Ross instructor. And we had a good time with it. So I thought maybe I'll just do it again for a video. Let's see what we can do. I want to get a little bit of Indian yellow out. A little bit of Indian yellow out, and I've got my canvas coated with liquid white and a little bit of liquid black down at the bottom, and just kind of misted them together. If I'm being honest with you, don't know what that is, but if I'm being honest with you, I would say use black gesso instead of liquid black. It's just easier. It's actually very much easier, less messy, and it works better to me. So we're going to start with a little bit of Indian yellow here. I'll learn to speak on camera again here in a minute. Mine's going to be a little brighter than Bob. Bob's is a little pastel-y looking. And we'll see what comes out here. Just shake it out of the brush. You're going to put some yellow right here in the middle. Remember, just using these overlapping strokes here. And it really is kind of just it's this pattern of strokes right here, but they're tied together. And once you learn to do them, you do them so quick, it's hard for you guys to probably see that sometimes. So I try to slow it down. It's almost an X. Crisscross stroke, X. Kind of like that, but overlap those strokes. And kind of make a circle there for that. And I don't know if Bob used Indian yellow, but I had Indian yellow in here. You could use cad yellow or whatever. I like Indian though. And then we're going to go to some alizarin crimson as soon as I find it. It's laying here somewhere. Let's see what we got. There it is. I've got a tube of crimson here. I'm not going to show you my palette. I'm really bad about that, I understand. But these videos are not meant to be full tutorials. They're meant to just be me rambling and you guys for some reason watching. And that's great. I appreciate it. Maybe you'll pick up a thing or two. Maybe I'll pick up something also in the comments. So I'll pick up a little bit of alizarin crimson, and we're going to go right around this, almost overlapping this. Well, really, we are going to overlap this yellow and get rid of some of it. Look at that. It's going to be really ugly. I don't like red and yellow together. I don't know why. We'll just overlap this and kind of let it go on out a little bit. Looks like I don't know, some kind of face there. Maybe we're painting Bob in weird colors. But we can leave that, or we could, if we want to, maybe go a little bit brighter on the crimson. Lose a little bit of the orange. You just want a little bit of that orange in the middle. I'm sorry, the yellow, not orange. And over here, what's happening doesn't really matter. We'll cover it up if we don't like it. That is horrendous looking, isn't it? I don't know if we'll be able to say that or not. I've got my concerns. I've got an old tube of Prussian blue here. Let's use Prussian blue and see what happens with that. Put it on our palette here again. So I've just got an old glass cutting board. It's 18 by 24 inches, and that's what I use as a palette over here. It does make your paint slide a little bit. So that's one negative. We'll just have the crimson on the brush and the blue. Let's add a little more crimson in there. Let's make a purple or lavender. Again, my colors are a little different than what Bob would use on this painting. And that's okay. Remember, you don't want to copy things. When I'm teaching classes or something, I always tell folks that I'm always happy when they don't try to copy mine. It's not that I don't care, or that I care that they copy it. It's just, it looks better if it's yours. Yeah, something dark up here in the corners. And we'll just kind of go up through here. We're going to blend all this, so don't worry about that. Again, it looks awful right now to me. These colors are just not my colors. But we'll make it into something, won't we? I bet we will. We're just going to put some in here. We can go into that black, bring it up, it doesn't matter. And really, if I had to do it over again, I said this before, but don't use the liquid black. It's just horrendous. In my opinion. Now that's just my opinion. I'm going to start with a clean brush here. Maybe I'll get we'll start with a little one. Good clean one here. I'm going to blend some of this now. We're going to blend this out a little bit. I'm going to start in the yellow and work in the circle and let some of that crimson kind of join with that yellow and just go around. Don't go into the blue though and bring it into your yellow. You won't be happy there. You can already see though, that looks way better already. Just diffusing those edges really helps a lot. Now, we can usually, if we're careful here, we can just go on out to our blue here. Don't bring it back into your yellow though, please. Unless you want a green. You could get a little green if you did. May look pretty with green, I don't know. But you can diffuse this a good bit. And already, isn't that looking better already? Wow. Just a little bit of blending. It's amazing what a little bit of blending will do for a sky like this. Now if I wanted to, and remember I have tons of brushes, so you're always going to, if you have two brushes at your disposal, you're going to need to wash a brush every now and then. I've got way too many brushes, and I keep buying other brushes, like old ones, so I've got way too many now. See, I like that. I like that sky pretty good now. It's going to look a little different on the camera than it does here, but it looks fairly good. I do want to darken up the corners a little bit more though. Let's grab a little bit more blue, a little bit more crimson, make a lavender, a little more lavender in here. Boy, it's dark. Purple rain, man. Let's just put a little bit up in here. Maybe there's a good bit down here in these corners here too. We'll have to blend again, of course. We'll just swirl some colors in. Remember, you can't go wrong here. What's the worst that happens? To start over. That'd be the worst thing that could happen. And then let's just blend this a little bit carefully without trying to get this blue into our yellow. I don't care about it getting into the crimson. It'll just turn into a lavender. There. The lavender will just get more lavendery. There we go. And we can be careful. Watch this. If you're careful with a brush and using just the way of the brush, you won't even notice that little bit going into that yellow. See that? You might see it a little bit. But don't be scared of the canvas just because you're worried about your colors mixing a little bit. Starts mixing, stop. There's no point in just continuing on. Just stop. Let's get a little bit of titanium white here. We've got an old tube I'm going to use up. And let's paint us a little sun up here. Excuse me. A little bit of Indian yellow and a little bit of white. More white than yellow. And somewhere in here, Bob has him a big bright sky. There, I need more white. A little more white on my finger here. It's not super bright, but you can see it. You can barely see that. I need more white. Goodness. Yeah. Like if you're going for a ratio, go for like 1 part yellow and like 10 parts of white to get this to show up. You know, I don't want it to show up super big or super bright, I should say. That should work. And I am a chunky person, meaning I don't really need to scrape my sun back off there. It's just no point. I think it looks pretty good. Let's just leave it. Yeah. Looks good. All right, I'm going to switch to a oval brush and use that. If you don't have an oval, a 1 inch will work, 2 inch will work. A round will work. That's what I used before when I painted this one with a friend. I use a round, but I'm going to try an oval tonight. I like the ovals, and this is the old ovals with the black handles. I've had these since I started painting, and again, I always preach this. Take care of your brushes and then they'll last. That brush is 6 years old. And the bristles are, of course, tinted now, but they are soft and still really nice and loose. And I've used this a lot. 6 years is not a long time for a brush. I know people that have had Bob Ross brushes for 25 years. So just take care of your brushes. All right, since the last time I saw you guys, you know what that means. Didn't really see you, did I? Since I was on here last, I should say, I have been certified in florals. So we'll probably do one of those here one day. An easy one. I'm still not sure about the florals. But we'll do one and see where we get to. So I'm going to take a little bit of black. I'm not going to show you here. I got it right here in my hand, but a little bit of black. You could use sap green for this step, but I've got this out, and this is what we used before, and a little bit of yellow. Excuse me. I can get the yellow open. Yep, still going. Take me a while to get used to filming again. I don't, set up a camera, turn it on is all it is, but still, that's hard. That's hard for me. I'm gonna take a little black and a little yellow. Just a little black and mostly yellow. And I'm gonna get a green out of mixing those together. A dark green. And I'll show you on my knife here what it's turning into. You probably can't, I don't know if you can see that, the tint of it. What it looks like. Well, the tint's not right, but we'll use that. And then maybe a touch of white in there too. Yeah, just a little touch of white. That'll brighten it up a little bit. There we go. And this is going to be our background color. I'm going to take my oval brush, load up some paint, go to town. Here we go. Let's see if this is going to show up even. Yep, there we go. It's little bitty trees, or actually big trees, I guess, just kind of hanging in here. Now this is just the background, so you could probably close your eyes and put this in as long as you're kind of just tapping. You just how that brush works, and just kind of put this in like that, and we'll put some branches in here and some things in here that'll make it look a little more tree-like. Let's start over here. Just where do we want this tree to go? We can let that one hang all the way over. It'll be really firm here on the sides, like that. We're kind of enclosing that scene, I guess. Truth be told, I've never watched this episode, or I'm sure I have, but I haven't seen it in forever. So I had a picture of it from one of the books that we were working off of. So it may not be exactly the way Bob did it on the TV show, but we'll make it work. I already don't like that. So I'll just get wild here and just tap in some stuff here. We'll make it work. Yeah. So we're kind of thinking about different branches hanging out. And we're going to have trees back in here. So, I mean, we're going to have some right here. And we can just smash in some color right now. We'll kind of firm these up in a little bit. Something like that. I actually think I might prefer the round brush. But I wanted to try this one. I haven't used it in a while. Oh, it's awful right now. Let's see what we can do with it. There. We'll use that. It's fine. It'll work. Now I'm going to get a little bit of thinner. Got my paint bucket over here with thinner in it. Got me a script liner here. And I'm going to thin down maybe a little bit of a whitish, yellowish color maybe. We'll try that. I'm just mixing a little paint here. Excuse me. Yeah, kind of a muddy, ugly color here. That should work pretty good. We'll see. Yeah, that'll work. Just want to see if it show up. There we go. You just need a little hint of something there. You could also, and sometimes I do this, you could very easily put this in first. And then you would know exactly where your foliage is going to sit. And that's honestly, in my opinion, that's a lot easier than trying to put the foliage on without the branches. And I'm just rusty, so I didn't think to do that. But that would work. It works actually better, I think. And you can have little sticks and twigs everywhere here. And sometimes you'll have one that's a little brighter than the others. That's good because that's more light hitting that one. And watch this, you can even have, let's do it right here. You can have dark branches coming out of here. I mean, it doesn't really matter. Something to hold up all this stuff here. I'll show you another little trick here that's maybe easier than this brush here, because this script liner brush is not an easy brush, is it? Let's get a little bit of color on here, right on this, right there. There we go. A little bit thicker there, maybe. We can always beef these up in a minute. No pressure on that brush, and lots of thinner. Somebody asked me, can you put too much thinner? Probably. You don't want it to be super thin, but you need it pretty thin. Like Bob said, almost like ink. And that's true. Again, be careful, don't get it too thin. But I bet it's harder to get it too thin than to have it to where it'll work for you. So I'd rather you mess up a couple of times when you're playing around with it and getting used to it. Alright, I'm just putting a few more limbs on here. This is going to get boring, so I won't put as many as I did on the other one. Kind of boring watching this kind of stuff. It's probably boring watching all of it. But, there we are, right there. We'll run a big old guy off there, and just for funsies here, let's just kind of let this one kind of fork up this way. Anytime you see lines or stuff you don't like in your script liner work, just go over them. We'll cover up half this branch here, this trunk, so it's no big deal. I want one going this way. I don't want to see where it ends there. Just a little one. Something like that. But you can see how that lighter color looks good on the canvas with that green, and that's what I like. You could use a light brown too. The other thing I was going to show you that I do quite a bit. Let me grab a paper towel and wipe my knife off. Paper towels are really nice to have handy. Try this sometimes. Look down here. So this tree, look on one of the big old, I think I've done this on an episode or two. Kind of like I got a TV show. You can scratch these in just as easy, and you can be pretty cool with it. I mean, you could have little things hanging off of it. I'm going to cover this back up and script liner it, but don't be scared to try things. You may like the way it comes out. That looks pretty good, except for this. I don't know why there's a K on there. I guess what all we got to do, if you don't like it, tap it out, cover it up with something. Maybe we'll just leave that one over there. I kind of like it. Got a nice little glow still of crimson, and of course our yellow, really dark around the trees, which is what we want. And then this will be super dark down here. That's working. Okay, let's highlight these two big trees before we move on. So let's just use, I got Indian yellow still out, so I'm going to use a little bit of Indian yellow. A little bit of Indian yellow. And a little white. And maybe, now this is going to depend on your paint. you may need to touch a liquid white or a touch of paint thinner to make this stick. Okay. Try it and see. So I've got my brush loaded up. Let's just see what we can do with this here. Oh, that worked pretty good. Look at that little orangey highlight there. You could use cad yellow for this too, or Indian. I'm sorry, yellow ochre would be pretty. I've got a little bit of that here. I may use that in a minute. There we go. Look at that, how that brush just kind of, if you start using this brush, you'll get used to it a little bit more. And it's a wonderful brush for doing a little tree highlights. Look at that, it kind of bounces in there. Maybe a little bit right there. But think of a tree like this, a deciduous tree with foliage. Think of it kind of like a bush. So if you have a bush, you do 12, 1, 2, back, 11, 10, 9. Same thing. These are just clumps of bushes when you're painting them, especially when you're painting in this method. Now, if you start painting in other methods, you may want to go a little fancier with it or something, but for Bob style, we call it Bob style because, Bob's fairly well known for it, right? Other people have done this style, it's not just Bob's. But in Bob's style, that seems to work, that kind of bush shape and kind of thinking of trees like that. It really helps when you start thinking of them like that. And you're just tapping. Oh boy, that's bright right there. I went to a little cad yellow. Maybe too bright. Put a little, mix my cad and my Indian together. Maybe brighten a couple of these up so it looks a little more like they work together. But you can see that I've got a little bush shape there. If that was on the ground, that would be a bush. And here's a tree. So let it be what it is. Biggest thing, I like mixing those two colors together, I can tell you that. Ooh, that's nice. Maybe a little bit right there. And then kind of think about that bush shape again. Just kind of, and don't go over. If you've noticed anything so far what I'm doing, I'm not hitting the same area more than once. Now I did highlight over a highlight, but that's advanced stuff, guys. And I'm probably going to take like a whole hour for a little bitty painting like this. I'm rusty. Goodness. But it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Let's just do this one. A little bit there. Go back this way. And if you have your paint the right consistency, it comes right off there. And it's just amazing how it works. And don't be scared to use a little liquid white or a little paint thinner. Now remember, liquid white's going to make your color brighter. So sometimes you don't want that, and a drop of paint thinner would be a better option. The problem is paint thinner will get you in trouble sometimes, so be careful with that. I would recommend you have a brighter painting when you're first starting out and get used to how paint thinner works versus having trying to use the paint thinner to paint with. It's just my opinion. You feel free to make it your own. That tree doesn't look too bad. I hope it looks okay on the camera. Let's do this one. Now here's one thing you will notice as you paint. You'll have one tree, or one side of a painting even, that you'll like better than the other. Let's see if we can make this tree even better. Barely touch, barely touch, barely touch. Put a little bit out there. Now let's think about clumps. There's a clump. There's a top. Let's just put a little back on it and let it kind of hang out there. Tops of the trees are not seen as much, right? So let's do a bush here. Bush. Go. Maybe there. Yeah, that's working good. It's a working. There's a little bit of touch right there. Okay. And you want to save that dark because that dark gives you that depth that you need in the painting. Without the dark, you can't appreciate the light. And right over your dark even, look at that. Just it can hang out over that. That's how nature works. They have to work with each other here. And I will say, I think I can make this brush work pretty good, but I almost think the little round brushes did better on the painting than the other one I did. The other version of this one I did. But this one, we'll finish this out with this one. I may lie, I may go to my other one. There. Yeah. And these are a little bright. I make these a little brighter. It's brighter than the other one I did. I want you all to be able to see them on the video versus being realistic. And again, I've told people before, I don't paint for realism. I paint for fun. You know, these trees. Alright, so there's our two big trees. Let's see, I gotta think a minute. I want to actually put those in the background. I don't want these to be the background trees. Or we could leave these actually. I don't like the shape of them, so I'm going to take a round brush here. What if I just got rid of them a little bit? Watch how this will mist them down. I could even raise them up a little bit. Like these are far, far off in the background. Oh, I like that. I should have done this before I did the tree. That won't matter. Like there's some big stuff back there. Back in the background. You can pick up a little bit of that highlight color. Yeah, I'm liking that. Just kind of softening these edges down a little bit. Now, that looks like there's a lot back in there. And we're going to put stuff in front of that. I think. If we do it right. Alright, so let's go here and let's bring some stuff in the front here. Let's do our little trick I talked about though first. We'll just use this color that we highlighted with. Let me get a little liquid white in here. Alright, that'll work. It should work. Let's say on these banks there's some little trees here, and we're going to cover up so much of it, it really won't matter. But we do want to see a little bit of something back in there. I actually used liquid white and just a drop of thinner. Look at that, it works really good. I don't want it to go above those trees though. Those actually turned out better than I thought. There's something back here. And these are all looking the same, so we'll stop there. Now, let's just put a little bit new dark in front of these. Or on these, I should say. We want that one to stay, this by itself. So let's just smash in some new foliage here. Get rid of those bottoms. Somewhere in here there's a little waterfall, so we gotta save room for that. Maybe here, that tree's in front of that one almost, kind of coming down like that. There's some little bushy shapes back in here in the background. Yeah, that'll work. Boy, I'm getting really loose with that. We'll stay kind of with the same color palette. Something like that. And if you're got all kinds of colors at home, use different colors. I've got some yellow ochre here, I thought, but I can't find it. There it is. Cad yellow. A little more cad yellow. You could use green in this painting, it'd be pretty. Just some little stuff back in here. Like that. I'm just building little shapes really now. I'll knock that one back by putting this one in front. These may be trees, they may just be bushes. So who knows? Look at this, just put some color down in here. This is really bright. It could use a drop of, I could have used a little bit of green in this, but I'm not going to worry about it now. There. That'll work. That'll work for what we're doing. Now, before we go too much further, let's take our knife. Let's do it with a knife. I like using the knife for this step. Clean it off. Grab a little bit, just a little bit of titanium white. And roll it out like you would if you're doing a mountain. Get that little roll. And somewhere back in here, you can just start putting a little bit of water back in here. You see how I'm just doing this? Just using the knife. Kind of runs back in here like that. Maybe a little bit of liquid white would be good in this too. I want to kind of keep it like there. I need a fan brush, and I didn't bring anything back here with me. So we're going to try it with the knife. Yeah, that didn't look too bad. Get a little bit more here. Crashing over. And that's our first falls. Okay, and we'll put I'll probably have to go grab a fan brush here and kind of mess with it. So we'll have a little water running there. And run it down. Let's just lay it out here. And run it down, and it comes down here. At least in mine, because I like the way I did it. To a bigger waterfall area. Alright, so we got our water in there. We'll go get a fan brush here in a second and mess with it. But the thing we probably should do is take a little bit of this, a little bit more black and the green color. It's mostly black. Mostly black. Throw a little crimson in there if you've got it. Don't be afraid to mix your colors. And let's just think about, don't need much here, but just tap in a little bit of grassy area. And this is just the dark. You've already got liquid black on here, so you don't need a lot of this. It should be dark enough, honestly, but think about how the water or the land goes down to the water. Maybe over here, kind of cut this all off, and you may turn these into bushes even. Yeah, bushy. Leave some bush action over here in it. Just giving it a little darker treatment here. You start seeing the land forming and things. And for this one, on the one that I did with a good friend here, is we just put bushes right here, or I did. Sorry for the noise. And then our waterfall's there. So let me pause. Okay, I didn't have to go far. I had one back here in a drawer, the new one. So I want to work on that water just a little bit more. And then we'll finish everything out. I was looking at it back there. It's a little too yellow. Just want to let that water just kind of running, and then like that it kind of comes over. Kind of shoot over like that. You can put some splashes in there if you want to. Like that. Yeah, add a touch of blue to my water. Not much. So one thing I sometimes don't like about Bob's water in his paintings, it's a little too blue. Water should be dark. Usually, there's not a lot of places you go find crystal blue water. Now you can. I'm not saying it's not possible. Do another little something there. come down here and just kind of lay out our water. Ooh, that's a little too much water. Let it get a little thinner down here, I think. Looks better. And then we're just gonna take our brush and go. This one just kind of shoots out here. And we will kind of work on this one here in a minute. But you can see it starting to land there. There we go. Knock that back a little bit. I guess that's okay. Maybe there's a little. Mess those up a little bit. Alright. I have 82 brushes to clean now. And that's not really an exaggeration. I think I'm going to take the blue, the crimson, and the black and mix those up and make a little darker color. Remember, Bob talked about this all the time. As things get closer to you in nature, they're going to get darker. And that's what I want to happen here. I want it to get darker for us. Even maybe some little bushes hanging out here. Some little bush shapes, like just tapping things on. There's one right here that kind of hides all that in the background. There we go. I'm being very lazy. There. That looks nicer. I know it doesn't yet, but it does in my mind. Sometimes I have to please my mind first. Alrighty. Let's think about this for a second. And I'm going to clean that brush off a little bit. I've got an old rag here I'm going to use. Okay. Clean it off, and I'm going to take some cad yellow we've been using. I'm going to try to get a little green in here now. We've got some sap green. We'll just use that. I don't have any of the green left over. I've used it all. It's black now. So a little bit of sap will work. Alright, we're going to load that brush up and touch a little bit of sap green into our yellow. I want it to stay to the yellow side, but I don't want it to be like bright yellow. Let's see if this color will look okay. I think it might. We want it to be different. Nope, I need a little more, a little bit more. You can even grab a little blue. Do that. There we go. Now we're getting somewhere. What I want you to see is right here. See that change to a greener color there? Still a yellow color, still a yellowish, but it's greener. Just tap in some foliage down here. A little bit more right here maybe. And just kind of making shapes. Trying to find some bushes and all this. And here's some of the funnest things we get to do. And the whole painting method is, remember, you've got scratch in some little things happening. Big things happening maybe, I don't know. I mean, you can literally kind of lay out your sticks and twigs to where they look like sticks and twigs. Just like we did up here in the sky with our tree branches and tree sticks. Tree sticks, that's a technical term. What I want to do is get a little bit more right there. There we go. Yeah, I'm liking the greenery down here towards the water area. It's a nice change. Ooh, that's a little bright. It's something like that hanging over the water. kind of saying howdy do. Maybe right there. Oh, that's nice. Look at that. It's a little bush hanging out. And you can be real slow with this and be very deliberate about your stroke. And then you can take your little knife and maybe, shoot, who knows, maybe that's a big old bush. It has all kinds of little branches on it like this. It comes out here like that. Come back in here, drop down a little bit, kind of put it a little bit more on there. That looks nice. There we go. We're just wanting to make sure that we can see a difference between these bushes and our trees back here. Let's go here. Let's do a bush. So there's 12. 1, 2. Let's just do 3 even. We need 2 reload when we go 11, 10, 9. And there is kind of how you do one of Bob's bushes. And it's got that kind of bob shape. It's kind of like a half circle almost. Put some little twigs and stuff in there. That needs one right there. Look at that. Starting to come together, guys. Starting to, look at that. Put one right there. Oh yeah. The only thing I'm not super stoked about yet is the water. We'll mess with that just a little bit. We don't want to cover it too much yet. But I'm really liking the bush shapes. Oh, let's just go ahead. We'll put our bush here. Oh, bright guy right there. Where does he go? Where does he? Oh, he goes all the way out there. Keeping in mind that they look really nice with these sticks. And just scratching some stuff on it. Reload, drop down. Something like that. Yeah. And we got some surprises. I'm going to change this painting up just a tad. We got some secret ingredients coming here. Maybe there's a little guy there hanging in the corner. Does he need any sticks? Maybe. Maybe just cut right through the paint, even just something. Okay. And then let's finish out that one side, and let's just, the water, sitting here, the water actually looks like water. I don't know. I did something, did I do something right? I don't know. I need a little bit more yellow out, and then we're going to do something fun here. You're like, finally. Finally, Graham, we're going to do some fun stuff. Hopefully I'm talking loud enough. I know I trail off sometimes. I'm honestly kind of soft-spoken as it is. I have to remind myself when I'm teaching classes and things, and not just painting classes. I usually teach business law and other things for the college. And I can get loud if I need to. But I can also be real quiet. Alright. Let's just finish this out. Where do we want to push? Right here. And remember, they don't have to be complete bushes even. It goes off the screen over here. This one's going to be a complete one. It's going to catch in front of that waterfall and cut out where we don't even see where that water goes. I like that. I like that look. But I'm weird, so a little bit right there. Let's do this here. Maybe that's one separate one there. I don't know. It's in there. Uh-oh, there's one even down here. Look at that. Oop. Going into our bushes. And we're going to leave the water. I said I'd mess with it a little bit. I don't think it needs it. I think it's fine. Maybe just a... Let's just add a little accent or two to it maybe. See if I can get this to stick. and just tap on some stuff here. Just moving back in there. Yeah. I think that works. I think that works. Where's it running? You know, where's it go? The one thing here, you want to make sure that your water back here is level. I think that's okay. I think. We'll just tap on a couple little highlights on here maybe to make sure it looks okay to me. This is where knowing when to stop is really good. I still don't know. I think that's okay. Well, let's have fun. Trying to decide what brush I want to use. I'm going to use this one, I think. I'll use a fan brush, the one we've been using for the water. And I got a paper towel. I have a mess to clean up. It's late here. Probably going on midnight or after. And we'll grab, let's see what I got in my old paint stash here. I got white, I got some phthalo blue, brown and black. We'll use Van Dyke brown and black, about equal parts. Maybe just brown. Let me just try brown. And this is old paint, so it's really thick. Oh man, that may be too thick. Thin it down here with a little something. Alright, so I just loaded it up pretty much just like that. We're going to put a tree right here. You're like, what? I don't want it to go all the way up, I don't think. Or do I? Oh, goodness. Or should it be here? Oh, man. This is a tough decision, guys. I wish I had done this live so people could tell me. And you may think I'm going to ruin the painting here. So look at it now, because it's getting ready to change. I'm going to put it right here. Let's just start it here. And we'll kind of see what happens here with it. It's going to go off the canvas. I kind of like it. I'm going to raise it a little bit more. This is just the trunk. Want that trunk to kind of swing off the canvas. Just like that. Just like that. It's a big old tree. Make it a little bit thicker here. Almost look like a and I didn't intend it to. It's almost looking like a palm tree. I'll get it right here in a minute. Figure out what I'm trying to say, maybe. Alright, before we do anything to it, I'm going to go to my script liner. And we're going to cross our fingers that we can get some branches on this guy. Oh yeah. I was worried it wouldn't stick. Okay, that'll work. That'll work. It's an odd shape. It's a little too fat down here, but I'll tell you, we'll cut that off probably with a bush or something. Let's put a little highlight on there. Let's just take the same brush. Let's get a little titanium white out. Same color. Titanium white and brown. Van Dyke. Marble those colors. You know what that means. Don't have one solid color. Let's just see if we can get a. Let's go kind of pull a little highlight on here. Something like that. See, it's over here. It's a little on. I'm gonna need to fix that. I know what to do here. Make it look okay. It's good when you know what you're doing. I don't yet, but I'm getting close. Just a little bit of knife action there. There we go. A little bit of white coming off. Very abstract tree. Oh, I don't know, just put a little more. You could touch it on there if you wanted to. But I know what I'm going to do for that thick tree I don't like. Watch this. You probably know. Hopefully this will work. No. No, I'm not going to. Change my mind. My prerogative. No. I'll do something to hide that nastiness down there. So raise that up a little bit. Bring some little branches out. And this one probably will not get any foliage because we'll fill up the whole painting if we did. Kind of regret putting this in here, but we're going to make it work. Like it's going to go over the sun there. I only regret it because it got a little fat on me. Put some little twigs and things coming off of here. There's one. I had not got this one so thick, it would look pretty good. Just keep putting thinner into your paint because that thinner will evaporate. And then your tree limbs won't come off as easy. And again, it's one of those things I don't know how to tell you exactly how much. Even in classes, I never know exactly how much to tell people. It's just something you've got to kind of play with and learn. Yeah, that's looking okay. So that one go over there. Mine's getting a little tight on me. Not running the way I want it to, so there. Now it's flowing off there. Okay. That's just such a weird looking tree. But guess what? I'm still going to show you guys this video. Maybe somebody else say, that's a beautiful tree. And if you do, probably going to see if you need to get some glasses. Let's just stop with that, probably. You can, this is one of those things Bob would talk about on the show a lot. You have all the time in the world here to sit and put little details on these paintings, and it does make a difference. So do it. Bring that one into the tree. Alright, now I've got an idea for this. How to fix our mess. How do we fix this nasty trunk of a tree down here? Trees aren't nasty, are they? What's this? Where do we think we went wrong with it? Right here? Over here, let's just raise. Just put some dark back in there and we'll put bushes in front of it. Easy. Easy, easy. It's growing out of there somewhere. I had really good bushes down there, but we had to get rid of them. We still need some sticks and things down here. A couple there. Actually, I don't mind it now. I don't mind it at all. A little bit in the water even. Look at bushes just saying hello. There. That doesn't look horrible. It doesn't look as bad as I thought it would look. But you know me, I'm not going to be satisfied here. Let's... what are we doing now? We run some more branches and twigs out of these bushes here. Being real careful here. Just something. Little details. Again, that really makes a difference. I'm using mainly black. It's actually a little gray. I've got some brown in it and a little bit of white. It looks really black, but it's probably gray. No pressure on this brush when you're using it. And remember, you're trying to paint with the tip. You're not painting with the whole brush. Well, that one don't look half bad. And then watch this. Here comes the one that's going to be crazy. I don't know if I can get it to stick. We got 2 layers of paint there. There, got it. There's just something hanging out there. Little sticks and twigs everywhere. In a little forest scene like this looks really nice. They don't have to be connected to anything. They can just be floating around, having a good old time. Shoot, and they come right out of the bushes. I mean, don't let it worry you. Where do we want another? We need another one. I'm liking them. I should have just put these in here instead of that big tree. Ooh. Okay, so here's a sort of a teaching moment. I had not twirled my brush back to a point, and I got a really thick branch here, so there we go. Now it's back to a point. Now I can use it. So always twirl it back to where you're using just the point or the tip there of that brush. Let that kind of hang out there. Well, it's not my best painting ever, but it's not horrible. This tree, I still don't like the tree, even covering it up. I kind of like this area down here. It's kind of jungly. And I may tinker with that tree. I don't know if I should just... Well, I'll tell you what. I mean, here's the thing. It doesn't matter how long the video is. If you're enjoying it, you're probably still watching it. So, it's not like there's a time limit. I don't have a mean old director lady yelling at me. So, just give me this 1 second. We're going to try to make that tree somewhat tolerable. There we go. I really like the sticks. I could put these in all day. That's 3. We'll say that's enough. What I'm not liking about the tree is it's just this odd shape. So what if did this and this, some black and brown. And let's build it up a little bit more on the back side. So you're like, oh, I thought you didn't like it being so big. I don't like the shape of it at the top. Just grow it out a little bit. You know, even if I didn't like it, there's trees out there that look like that probably. just don't like that tree. You may not see this one. You'll be like, where's that video? I'll put it up and then I'll take it down. Let's see if I can get some branches on here and make it look a little better. Yeah, put some darker ones on here may help. And let them hang every which way. There, that's a little better. And this one right here is throwing me off. It's got to come out of that tree. There we go. This one needs to come, watch, this needs to come into the tree like that. There we go. That's a little better. And then we need one over here. You can't just let them be everywhere. Sometimes putting a lot of them will hide. I think Bob would talk about trees can hide a multitude of sins. Well, sometimes branches, if you can put enough in there, they'll hide the sins too. Let that one be a little thicker there. There we go. That's nicer. See that? And you're like, no. I don't see it either, really, but I'm trying to convince myself, guys. Let this one come right out of that trunk right there. There we go. And you can have branches or limbs hanging down. They don't all have to hang up. Look at a tree sometime. You'll see what I'm talking about. And then I want it's there. Other than the top of the tree, it doesn't look horrible. I just figured out what I could do to maybe live with it a little bit. There. Let it go all the way off. There we go. People are like, no! Make sure I'm going to do it here. Make sure that our top of our tree is not thicker than the bottom. That would be weird. What am I at? Oh, I'm at a, oh, sorry. It's such a long video. Hey, oh, that's a nice limb. That's at least something. Look at that. That's a nice limb there. You get up here to where there's not a lot of paint, you can really do some cool stuff. Yeah. It's just fun playing script liner brush, honestly. Try it. We've got a video on here about using a script liner, and it's a fun brush to use. It just takes some getting used to. Yeah, that's not bad. That's a weird branch, but have it kind of coming in here a little bit better. There we go. Branches do that. Branches be weird sometimes. That's okay. Trees are weird, especially this one. I've got an idea for the last part of the tree here. Look at all these branches. Bob would be happy because our birds have a lot of places to sit here. Ram's not happy, but Bob would be. There we go. There. Just kind of let that one be a little thicker there. I could sit here all day and put these in. And then cover up everything on the painting. Actually, it's not horrible. I guess it's not horrible. Terrible. My brush is kind of coming apart, but this is one of these old script liners, probably from the early 90s. That I'm so happy to have. Alright, now let's do one thing here. I got an idea. You're probably like, nope, because it won't work, and it may not. A lot of yellow there. If we touch a little highlight on here with, let's put my finger in the paint. A little bright highlight on that tree may make it something. May make it zing or something, I don't know. Touch a little bit on there. Especially at the top. Catching that light from the sun. There. I don't hate it. I don't hate it. So, if I don't hate it, what we should do, use this down here. Let's put her name on it. And if you know me, you know my signature looks like a kindergartner. There we go. You can barely see it, and I kind of like that. We'll call this one done. I should have called it done, like, you know, before I put that big tree in. I do like the branches and things. The water actually looks pretty good. Coloring is not horrible. It's looking pretty good, guys. So, welcome back. I am sorry I've been gone so long. I've got three ideas that I'm working on here, and the next one will probably be a floral, an easy one. And then we're gonna have some fun. But good to see you guys, even though I don't see you. Good to know you're out there. Everybody take care, be well, be kind to each other, and stay healthy. Okay? I'll see you here in a few days. Yell at me if you need anything.